5.
Doctors and guests on the Medical Files program will help you with any medical problems you have by giving you advice on air. However, they do not have your full medical history and they have not seen you. Please verify the advice given to you on air with your doctor who knows you better. Neither the doctors nor Radio Ansaar will be held responsible for any ill health caused by the advice given on Radio Ansaar.
Under the stars.
To a live broadcast from Radio Al-Ansar, Pietermaritzburg, 105.6 FM.
Tears falling, carrying my despair. Your memories linger, they fill my heart with grace. In every shadow, in every vacant place. Oh Allah, grant me strength to mend. I hope the angels look over you, my friend. Inshallah, we'll meet again in Jannah, where there's no end. Smile and laughter echo deep
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh on this Mubarak overcast Saturday morning in Pietermaritzburg. We are on Radio Al-Ansar 90.4 in Pietermaritzburg, 105.6 FM. All praises due to Allah, the Lord of the world. We ask for His guidance and blessings as we discuss important matters of health and wellness. I'm Shubnum Ismail. I'm going to be your presenter this morning on the Pietermaritzburg Pulse Show. And today we are capturing the heartbeat of the community. If you have just returned from a well-deserved holiday break, we are glad you are back with us. Today, we are diving into the journey of physical rehabilitation and care after spinal injury. We'll be exploring the latest treatments, sharing inspiring stories about recovery, and getting expert insights on how to reclaim your strength, mobility, and independence, inshallah. Joining us today on Al-Ansar is physiotherapist Ashley NDLOVU from Varuna Mangal Physiotherapy in Pietermaritzburg, a warm, welcoming, and outspoken professional dedicated to caring for others. Ashley believes in considering his clients' problems with pain, stiffness, or other issues and helping them feel better by solving these challenges, together with the motto, "Your relief is my relief." Charismatic, humorous, and overall conversational, Ashley focuses on patient-centered care. On our show, he'll share insights into physiotherapy, techniques, and rehabilitation after spinal injury, inspiring viewers and listeners with his compassionate approach to therapy. Good morning, Ashley, and welcome to the show. It's so great to have you with us today.
Good morning, Shubnum. Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Wonderful. So, Ashley, can you tell our listeners what is physical rehabilitation?
Okay, so physical rehabilitation, the scientific sort of description or definition is it's a process aimed at improving health and wellness and well-being actually after illness, injury, or surgery. So it mainly focuses on restoring strength and overall independence and function to each individual that has gone through like a tragic incident of like an illness, which there's a vast amount of illness that need physical rehabilitation. Post-surgery, if an injury has made a person to undergo surgery, and so we want to get that particular patient or person back into society, back into everyday life, making sure that the medical condition is cured or recovered. making sure that they are able to now deal with whatever they were physically able to do before that illness or incident.
Go into the rest of what you do in terms of physiotherapy and dive into the rehabilitation phase. We're going to have a quick break, and once we connect, we're going to enlighten the listeners what they need to know about physical rehabilitation, the pros and the cons, the benefits, inshallah.
اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم حرر المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الغاصبين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المرابطين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم شد أسرهم وسدد رميهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم الطف بإخواننا في كل مكان يذكر فيه اسمك يا أرحم الراحمين. استنصروك يا الله فانصرهم. اللهم ارحم الضعفاء والفقراء والمساكين والأيتام والنازحين والمشردين والأسرى يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم أنج المستضعفين من المسلمين في فلسطين. اللهم كن لهم عونا ونصيرا. اللهم كن لإخواننا المرابطين في المسجد الأقصى. اللهم كن لهم ولا تكن عليهم. اللهم فرج همهم، نفس كربهم، داو جرحاهم، عاف مبتلاهم، اشف مرضاهم، ارحم موتاهم، تقبل شهداءهم.
Hungry for a deal that hits the spot? Get the top duo deal. 2 large margarita plus 1 topping each for $1.99. Or go big or go home with the Bellissima Duo deal. 2 large Bellissima pizzas for $2.69. Pure flavor perfection. And that's not all. The snack box combos are here. Your pizza boy's favorite pack to the ultimate munch box. Don't forget our daily lunch specials. Delicious, quick, and wallet friendly. Only at Pizza Boys. Taste that hits different. Pizza Boys, bring your va-va-voom to your slice of life. Find your nearest Pizza Boys near you. Pizza Boys, we don't cut corners.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Radio Al-Ansar welcomes your feedback. If you have a broadcasting-related complaint, please put it in writing and address it to the head of the complaints committee. Include your full name, contact details, a clear description of your complaint, and any supporting documents. You can email your complaint to feedback@alansar.org.za. That's feedback@alansar.org.za. Or bring it in person to our Pietermaritzburg office at 240 Ortman Road, Willowton. Your input helps us serve you better.
Your perfect companion, Radio Al-Ansar.
वो जो न थे तो कुछ न था, वो जो न हो तो कुछ न हो, जान है वो जहान की जान है तो जहान है या नबी अल्लाह या हबीब अल्लाह दो जहां के ताजदार है मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह या नबी अल्लाह या हबीब अल्लाह महबूब परवरदिगार या मोहम्मद रसूल अल्लाह आपकी हर अदा पे है आलम फिदा बलगल उला भी कमाले ही ना हो खुदा आप ना हो खुदा से जुदा कशफ दो जो भी जमाले ही हर वक्त में याद में तेरी हसनत जमी खिसाले ही हर पल से करो स्वल्लु अलैहि व अलैहि दिल में इश्क मोहम्मद नहीं अगर
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, listeners, on this fine Saturday morning here in Pietermaritzburg on Radio Al-Ansar. I'm Shubnum Ismail. I'm your presenter today, and we're talking to Mr. Ashley NDLOVU. He's a physiotherapist in our city of choice. We are very excited to be actually unpacking everything about the world of physiotherapy. Welcome back, Ashley. It's great to have you on the show. Ashley? Listeners, we are experiencing some technical difficulty due to the weather in Pietermaritzburg, so please bear with us. We are trying to reconnect with Ashley, who is our guest speaker, and we are talking about physical therapy in a rehabilitation setting. We are just going to actually reconnect with Ashley shortly, so please just bear with us. Give us a few minutes.
मुश्क सजदे की खूब माथा घिसा और पेशानी पे दागे सजदा पड़ा कल्ब दागे मोहब्बत से खाली रहा ऐसे माथा घिसाने से क्या फायदा अल्लाह रब्बु मुहम्मदिन सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम नहनु इबादु मुहम्मदिन सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम या नबी अल्लाह या हबीब अल्लाह जो जहां के ताजदार है मोहम्मद रसूल अल्लाह या नबी अल्लाह या हबीब
You are listening to a live broadcast from Radio Al-Ansar, Pietermaritzburg, 105.6 FM. Radio Al-Ansar, 24/7, 365.
The Saturday Lounge with Salma Kazi Wahab, 10 to 12. Latest machines, the celebrity artists.
حبيب رسول الله
News from the field.
مصطفى
The Sunday Lounge with Kazi Wahab.
Every day, thousands go to bed hungry, But you can change that. With just 10 Rand, you can provide a loaf of bread. This bread is more than just a donation, it is a lifeline for so many families in need. Be part of the Al Ansar Outreach Slice of Life drive today. Call Outreach on 031 208 1601 and make a difference one loaf at a time.
اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم حرر المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الغاصبين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المرابطين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم شد أزرهم وسدد رميهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم الطف بإخواننا في كل مكان يذكر فيه اسمك يا أرحم الراحمين. استنصروك يا الله فانصرهم. اللهم ارحم الضعفاء والفقراء والمساكين والأيتام والنازحين والمشردين والأسرى يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم أنج المستضعفين من المسلمين في فلسطين. اللهم كن لهم عونا ونصيرا. اللهم كن لإخواننا المرابطين في المسجد الأقصى. اللهم كن لهم ولا تكن عليهم. اللهم فرج همهم، نفس كربهم، داوي جرحاهم، عاف مبتلاهم، اشف مرضاهم، ارحم موتاهم، تقبل شهداءهم.
اللهم بارك لنا في رجب وشعبان وبلغنا رمضان. اللهم بارك لنا في رجب وشعبان وبلغنا رمضان.
Doctors and guests on a medical files program will help you with any medical problems you have by giving you advice on air. However, they do not have your full medical history and they have not seen you. Please verify the advice given to you on air with your doctor who knows you better. Neither the doctors nor Radio Al Ansar will be held responsible for any ill health caused by the advice given on Radio Al Ansar.
You are listening to a live broadcast from Radio Al Ansar, Peter Maritzburg, 105.6 FM.
There's a pathway to peace if you want it, but the street is surrounded by thorns. Oh, you'll see and smell roses you all think you like, but they're only there so you stray from the course. Every chance that I get when it's feeling so hard, praying for guidance and hoping it opens my heart. Love and faith filling up, but I know it will fall. Won't slow up, keep on.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Radio Ansaar, Peter Marisburg, 105.6 FM. You with myself, Shubnum Ismail, on the Peter Marisburg Pulse Show. Jazakallah for bearing with us as we've had a little bit of a technical issue, but we now back on air. We with Ashley NDLOVU, a physiotherapist in Peter Marisburg, at a rehabilitation center under the banner of Varnas Bungle and Associates. We are talking about physical rehabilitation, spinal injuries and rehabilitation, and how we can get things right to stabilize a patient. Welcome to the talk show, Ashley.
Morning.
Wonderful, Ashley. It's great to have you with us. I wanted to actually just check in with you in terms of physical rehabilitation. Can you enlighten your listeners what would be a typical physical therapy session?
Okay, so a typical physical therapy session would mainly depend on the type of illness of the patient and the stage at which the condition will be in. Okay, so we measure it in terms of highest functional level. Palliative, so patient that will be treated in bed as an in-hospital that has maybe high medical contraindications, then we will treat according to that illness. So say a patient has a typical stroke, depending on the stage of the stroke and the medical conditions underlying, that patient will be treated initially. So what we need to make sure is we clear the patient's chest. So we want to make sure there's procedures we do with chest physiotherapy, ensuring that there's proper airway clearance so that patient will be bed bound for longer periods of time. And then we want to make sure that there's adequate respiration for the patient to breathe normally. Also, we want to make sure that there is pressure care. So if a patient lies in bed for a long time, they develop pressure sores. So what we do is we move them out of bed into a seated position. So the balance element comes into it. So there's sitting balance training in that position. And then from there, we want to get the patient from that position to a standing if it's a possibility. So then we do balance training in standing. So it's stage by stage. Then that patient would have to, in a typical physical rehabilitation setup like we have at Royal, we'll then have to take that patient down to, we have a fully kitted physiotherapy gym at VSP Physiotherapy. So then we have equipment to firstly strengthen. If there's a deficit in muscle strength of the patient, there's neurological changes which introduce things like tonal changes, where if you get a stroke patient, there's different types of stroke, where the arm and the leg on one side that is affected is very stiff or very loose or flaccid. So in a stiff case, we will stretch. In a very loose state, we will then stimulate the muscles to work. So then we incorporate that into making sure that the patient now is able to do activities of daily living, like things that you would take very lightly, like brushing teeth, eating food, getting up to the bathroom and back to bed, and getting back into society. So the end goal is trying to get the patient that has had an illness or surgery or any other form of compromising situation to the physical ability, to make sure that we eliminate that, prevent re-injury, and get them back into what they were participating, so their participation level in society and in their lives.
That's excellent. And physiotherapy is quite extensive, Ashley. In terms of the type of cases, I know you mentioned stroke. What are some other cases that you do see arriving at your facility?
Okay, so yeah, predominantly we get very cases that are very neurological. So it's your spinal cord injuries that would maybe result in an infection or result in maybe say a car accident or a fall or things like that. So it's your spinal cord injuries, it's your stroke patients, it's your typical chronic lower back patients, chronic neck pain patients. You get patients with amputations, be it diabetic conditions or tragic accidents that would result to an amputation of the leg or the arm. It's a whole array of conditions. We can cut respiratory conditions like your pneumonia, your asthma, even COVID. Also, at the time, we were very involved in rehabilitating those patients. There's quite a big spectrum of physiotherapy indications or things that sort of conditions that we delve into. So it's anything that has compromised function, we want to get that back.
About spinal cord injuries, why is it important that a patient should get to your facility and start the spinal therapy for rehabilitation early?
Okay, so the earlier we get a diagnosis, the earlier it is possible for us to prevent more damage. So especially with spinal cord injuries, see, the spinal cord itself is a very crucial nerve in the human body because it conveys messages from the brain to the rest of the body. So it's protected by bone. So you'll come to find out that every important organ in the body is protected by bone. So that entails that the importance of that nerve is very crucial to movement, to sensation, and every other thing. So we get spinal cord injuries, especially with falls, car accidents, and things like that. The earlier we detect it, the better we can prevent things like inflammation or more damage to the spine. And sometimes if it's post-surgery or after the injury, your neurological surgeon will then have their protocols of things like lumbar braces or protective devices to make sure that we prevent re-injury. And then the earlier we start, because you see, as I said, the spinal cord controls musculature for movement and everything else. So if we start at a later stage, the function of that patient would have been delayed. Then getting back that function in terms of muscle strength, in terms of sensation and stimulation and all that, that'll prolong the rehabilitation period, or even not sort of hinder the progress. If there's more damage, if say the patient didn't know that there's a certain way of getting into and out of bed, they didn't know the precautions of not bending post or more than 90 degrees at a certain time of a spinal cord injury, that'll just stop any possible recovery. Then a person would then no longer be able to walk when they would have had the chance to walk again. That's a very, very important thing. And we get questions from families and patients that, will I ever walk again? You see, so if we intervene as early as we can to prevent that injury, then the ability of walking or feeling your legs or feeling your hands or actually getting back to how you were before your tragic incident would be then compromised if you don't start as early as possible.
Ashley,
Yes.
I can hear how passionate you are about the work that you do. And I am just excited to share this information with the community, because it's important that they know that if they have to sustain injuries or have a stroke, or a family have a stroke, that they know that they are going to people that are skilled like yourself. We're going to take a quick break, folks, but don't go anywhere. We've got more exciting discussions lined up. And when we return, Ashley will tackle more information on expertise of physiotherapy, and we'll be exploring techniques and care after a spinal injury. Stay with us, inshallah.
Getting you through your day. Radio Al-Ansar.
Pietermaritzburg, get excited. New stock has just landed at Bawa Superstores. Bring the fun home with our amazing range of kids' rechargeable electric ride-on cars. From luxury Bugattis, tough Jeeps, to siren-ready police cars, the perfect ride for every little driver. Find it all at Bawa Superstore, 439 Victoria Road, Pietermaritzburg. Don't miss out. Everything you need is waiting for you at Bawa Superstore.
Elevate your style with Al-Noor kurtas and fragrances from Potent Ice Perfumes, exclusively available at Al-Ansar shop. Visit us at 207 West Road or call 031-208-1601. Experience the best in fashion and perfumery. Al-Ansar shop where elegance meets fragrance.
This and only this is Nightline. Nightline is the only program that allows you to listen to the opportunity to voice your opinion on any matter or any topic that concerns you. Also on Nightline, we interview the famous, the not so famous, and infamous. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Brother Muhammad Variawa, and with me in the studio is Dr. Anwar Jiwa. Join us every Saturday night from 8:30 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. on Nightline, the program designed especially for you, the listener.
As school opens, School Matters, in partnership with Save Hyper and Radio Al-Ansar, is calling you to help a child step into the new year with confidence. We're collecting school uniforms and school shoes, new or gently used, to support learners in need. Drop off your donations at Save Hyper, 362 Victoria Road, or at Radio Al-Ansar, 240 Ortman Road, Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 3 p.m. Let's come together, uplift our community, and make a real difference, one child at a time. School Matters, Save Hyper, and Radio Al-Ansar, because education starts with dignity. At Radio Al-Ansar, we value your feedback. If you have a broadcasting-related complaint, please send it in writing to the head of the complaints committee. Be sure to include your full name, contact details, a clear explanation of the complaint, and any supporting documents. You can email your complaint to feedback@alansar.org.za. That's feedback@alansar.org.za. Or visit our administrative office at 207 West Road, Overport, Durban. Your voice matters to us.
Teaching you something new every day. Radio Al-Ansar.
Doctors and guests on a medical files program will help you with any medical problems you have by giving you advice on air. However, they do not have your full medical history and they have not seen you. Please verify the advice given to you on air with your doctor who knows you better. Neither the doctors nor Radio Al-Ansar will be held responsible for any ill health caused by the advice given on Radio Al-Ansar.
You are listening to a live broadcast from Radio Al-Ansar, Pietermaritzburg, 105.6 FM.
الرب صلى دائما وسلم على المكرم ما زمزم الحادي وما ترنم في الليل الظلام بذكر طه المجتبى جل الهم والأنس خيام صلوا عليه إن الصلاة مغنم تنجي من الهم صلوا عليه يا رب صل على محمد يا رب صل عليه وسلم يا رب صل على محمد يا رب صل عليه وسلم كل من في الكون هام بك يا باهي الجبين ولهم فيك غرام واشتياق وحنينا يا رب صل عليه وسلم يا رب صل على محمد يا رب صل
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the PT Marisburg Pulse Show with myself, Shubnum Ismail. We're on Radio Al-Ansar, Durban 90.4, and PT Marisburg 105.6 FM. If you've just tuned in, we are talking physical rehabilitation and care with Ashley NDLOVU from Varanasi Mangal Physiotherapy. Welcome back, Ashley, and it's great to have you on this Saturday morning on the Pulse Show.
Good to be back. Thank you, Shubnum.
So Ashley, tell us, you obviously see a variety of patients, and how do you track progress and keep up to date with latest technology and trends within the umbrella of physiotherapy?
Okay, so what happens is we have a very research-based approach to our treatments with every other condition. As you know, there's research being done every single day. So we try our best to make sure that we keep up with all the ways and modalities and things that, or maybe technologies, there's equipment and devices that assist with us. So we make sure that each and every year there's a health professionals council that we fall under as physiotherapists that have yearly recommendations and points that we have to make sure that we keep up our knowledge with the current research and technology that is there. So what worked in 2020 might not work as well in 2026, you see. So whatever you were doing on that at that time might be improved in terms of technology. We have AI, we have a lot of other things. So very evidence-based. And then also what we do here at VSP Physio, what we do is we make sure that each and every Friday or each and every week we try and do in-service trainings. So one physiotherapist will choose a topic, say maybe stroke awareness or diabetes or amputation or things like that. They will choose a topic, they will go research about it, go online, get the necessary articles and journals and evidence, and then they would present on a Friday morning to every one of us here. So we would be updated on a weekly basis, making sure that we bring a very high standard of care to our patients.
Actually, you guys seem very team-based, which is fantastic. And earlier we spoke about hydrotherapy and the benefits. Can you enlighten the listeners how physical therapy assists with the hydrotherapy sessions as well?
Okay, so the phenomenon of buoyancy is a very important part of hydrotherapy, or otherwise known as aquatherapy. So when you submerge yourself or any object in water, close to about 75% of that object or that person's weight would be then eliminated. So it's that floating mechanism. So you get patients that are very scared of falling, or patients that might be have a higher body mass index that are quite bigger than your usual, that would be harder to say do a complete session of physical therapy where they have to lift their arms, they have to lift their legs. So that buoyancy phenomenon underwater would then assist that patient to walk easier if they couldn't walk on like normal atmosphere, you see. So that's the one part. And also water has a resistance to it. So resistance training in a stroke patient, in a spinal cord injury patient, or in a very physically compromised patient that would require strengthening. A simple walk up and down on the pool is actually strength training and endurance training. So in that sense, you would want to, that patient is already going to be as if they're running or they're walking across like a strong wind or anything like that, which increases their muscle strength, increases their cardiorespiratory endurance and such. And the environment of being in water, whenever you see a pool, you think of fun things, you see. So we then now get that element of the fact that it's not like a serious therapy session where a patient can now let loose and be acceptable to any other form of exercise, not even thinking that it's beneficial, because you get patients that are very their moods are down, they're under medication, they are in hospital, they're not in a familiar environment where they would act as their own. So what we do is also we invite family members into the pool area to add a bit of fun into it. So we are accomplishing our goal, and also we are getting it to be a bit exciting and fun for the patient, which uplifts mood and makes it holistically better, because we don't look at a patient only as a physical being. There's the psychological parts, there's every other aspect to it. So that patient that has done hydrotherapy in that day would have a better rest of the day, a better rest of the week, you see. So that's how beneficial hydrotherapy is.
Psychologically, it's very important, and you deal with amputations, car crash victims, as well as gunshot cases. So tell me, Ashley, how do you keep the patient motivated? Because it is a difficult role getting them out of the bed and getting them into your gym and getting them obviously into a fitness regime. So how do you keep the families, the patient, and how do you keep yourself motivated with each patient interaction?
Okay, so with each tragic incident that occurs, the psychological part of everyone is going to be impacted. The patient themselves and the family members, next of kin, spouses and such. So it's a very tragic physical sort of event, and also psychologically. We have psychological education, and we did a lot of human psychology in our studies. So we then look at the holistic approach of making sure that we involve family members. So we counsel family members on the side to just explain how the patient is gonna sort of present. Because if, say, you were in a car accident, you weren't in reach, you're in ICU, and now you are here doing physical therapy, sometimes your mother, your spouse, your children are not going to take it in a good way. And if the reaction is very saddening to you as the patient, your mood also goes down, and you lose sort of sense of respect, especially for our male counterparts. And, it's very demotivating. So what we do is we counsel the family, and we make sure that the family researches on conditions like your stroke, your spinal cord injuries, and things like that. So they come in knowing that they're coming to support, you see. So if the patient has, say, a tragic incident like a car accident and things like that, we have in-house psychologists, clinical psychologists that come in and counsel the patients. And also we are not very close to our patients in terms of they know us personally or things like that. We are not very familiar. They're not very familiar with our faces and the environments. So we encourage family members to visit as often as they can. And when they do visit, come with a smile, even if it's not fully a smile, you're going through something, but come with good, positive vibes, so to say. So if you can play that patient's playlist of music that they like, if they're not as conscious, because sometimes patients are not as fully conscious after a tragic incident. The sense of touch is very important. The sound of a spouse's voice, a child's voice, your baby or your say your son or your daughter's voice next to you, and smiles and everything, it brings morale back. So I think in that sense, we as therapists will push for the measurable goals such as muscle strength, endurance, balance, everything. But the psychological part is then uplifted by family members that come in, and in visiting hours, we have 2 sets of visiting hours, morning, afternoon. Also, for a patient that is very needy or has requested, we have open visitation where anyone from home can come at any time, just to make sure that they bring them the stuff that they have at home, sometimes pictures, music, as I said, and all that. So that's how we tackle the psychological parts of our physical rehabilitation.
Actually, it seems like you guys deliver a very holistic approach in dealing with your patients, which is great, because obviously going through some sort of trauma, it's not only about the physical rehabilitation, but indeed, I agree with you, the psychological impact and the counseling and holding them through the journey is absolutely imperative. Let's talk about strokes a little bit, because I believe that getting to a rehabilitation facility and getting physical rehabilitation as early as possible is crucial. Why is it important that those stroke patients get to your department and start physical therapy as soon as possible?
Okay, so the most of our stroke patients are usually elderly people. So because stroke is very in line with your lifestyle conditions, like your hypertension, so high blood pressure, which is usually, not all the time, but predominantly affects our elderly. So if a patient or a mother or a grandfather of yours has suffered a stroke, even if you're not medically inclined or informed or things like that, it's in our onus to make sure that we seek medical attention, making sure that they get these medical stabilizing mechanisms, so that, because one stroke can actually exacerbate a second stroke, a third stroke, a fourth stroke, multiple strokes at a time, if not attended to sooner, you see. So getting our patients to medical facilities, sometimes we don't know what to do immediately if someone suffers a stroke in front of us at that moment. So just a little bit of insight. A stroke would be something like a seizure, like a prolonged seizure. The presentation, if you are in front of someone that their body is doing vigorous vibrations and they fall to the ground, or their eyes roll, or they bite their tongue, or they keep facing to one side, that is probably a stroke event. So what you do as a non-medical person, get that person to lie on the side as they're on the floor, lie on their side, on their unaffected side, or the side that is not rigorously moving. What you do is just make sure that patient is stable. Make sure that there's not many people around them. I know sometimes it causes a scene. So you decrease stimulation. You make sure that as the patient is lying, you call the ambulance line. There's 101 77, if I'm not mistaken. So try and make means of getting emergency medical personnel in that event. So fast forward to an acute, so that ambulance will take that patient to an acute setting, like your hospitals. So then what happens is that sometimes what we've picked up is that when the patient is now discharged, sometimes they're not ready to go directly at home. So a step-down facility like Royal Hospital is very crucial to continue care, making sure that by the time they get home, they are ready, so that they don't suffer another stroke, or they don't get neglected and stay in bed for long and develop pressure sores and other secondary complications of a stroke that could have been prevented. Yeah, I think that's true. That should be about it.
Actually, I'd like to thank your team, yourself, for the amazing work and your expertise on the Pulse Show and sharing such crucial information. And there's so much that we can still unpack. So I'm definitely going to plug you and have you back on the show. So as we come to the end of our discussions on physical therapy, listeners, shukran for listening and tuning into today's episode. Ashley, how can the listeners get in touch with you in getting some advice? Would you like to share your contact number and your location with the listeners?
Okay, so we are Verena Sumangal Physiotherapy, so that's VSP in the Royal Rehabilitation Hospital. It's in number 301 Burger Street, Pietermaritzburg. So I'll just share the practice cell phone number. Is that okay?
That's absolutely fine.
All right, so it is 066 263 9352. So I'll repeat it. It's 066 263 9352. All right, so we're not only an inpatient facility, there's also outpatients. So you can call in, come in as an outpatient. We see you, we assess you, and then we continue care as it is. It's not only an inpatient based practice. You can just walk in and we do an assessment, and we accept all medical aids and cash also.
Thank you so much for enlightening our listeners. We are so grateful for the time you've taken to guide us today. And to our listeners, remember that strength and healing is important, and recover and journey is our destination and our goal in everything that we do. We want you to stay motivated, and remember to stay hydrated, because we are experiencing weather with humidity, etc. Please stay tuned to the Pulse Show. Until next time on Al-Ansar, thank you to our tech in Durban and Pietermaritzburg, and to Sister Marion for joining us today to keep us connected with the community. From myself, Shubnum Ismail, Assalamu alaikum. Until next time, take care.
Radio Al Ansar, 24/7, 365.